Lollapalooza, ever since it's come to India,
Right.
in the kind of audience and the uh, the age group of listeners that it's drawing is so unique to festivals. So you emulate a great master, and then eventually it dawns upon you that, oh, you can't be that.
Yeah.
You might as well be something else.
Right.
Every time in every era, if
Right.
there is something that comes which is slightly changing uh, there's a shift in the shape or the color
Right. Right.
of what they consider as traditional,
Right. Right.
there will always be opposition and they will be up in arms for that. One of the first songs that I ever recorded with the Zitar was from the movie Gangster, Bhigi
Yeah.
Bhigi.
Bhigi, bhigi. Yeah.
You're destined. You don't plan these things, that you will have made Tum and then you say, no, Tum is not working, make another song, you make Aista, and then you have both happening.
Right. And I'm with the legendary Sitar maestro, Pandit Niladri Kumar ji, who's all set to enthrall us at Lollapalooza 2025. So we're going to talk about that, his musical journey, his path-breaking invention, Zitar, and more. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much. But one small correction, no Pandit. You can maybe add a bandit, but no Pandit. Just Niladri Kumar is good.
Okay, sir. So, Lollapalooza is just around the corner. First of
Mhm.
all, how excited are you to present your magic on the sitar at this year's edition? And can you give us a sneak peek of what you have planned for the listeners?
Well, I don't think Lollapalooza allows anybody to not feel excited because
Right,
you're not supposed to perform in a certain city where that's happening for 6 months. So already you're not playing in that
right,
city, and you're looking forward to playing for a certain audience,
right,
and then you wait for those many months without playing, and then the festival happens. So
right,
automatically, they have this amazing, way of that you have to feel energized, and you really want to you're looking forward to it.
right, right, right,
So that's one part of it. But keeping that part aside, I mean, to be honest, Lollapalooza, ever since it's come to India,
right,
in the kind of audience and uh, the age group of listeners that it's drawing is so unique to festivals.
right, right, right,
I mean, certain acts and artists come to India, and then you have that whole collection of people going in. But as a festival,
right,
be able to do that, that is something so rare.
right, right.
And I think I just give uh, them my best wishes for it to continue. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing, and hoping that the music that we do kind of resonates with that audience in a way that it kind of leaves a mark
Right, right, right.
for them. Yeah.
So, sir, how do you usually tailor your live sets? What factors do you take into consideration? Is there a framework that you always follow?
Oh, no, not at all. In fact, I don't know if I should be saying this.
Right,
Uh, just like yesterday, I was playing a concert in Patiala Heritage Festival,
right, right,
and so many times you just have some things which you plan,
right,
and then by the time you're going up on stage and you're about to play,
right,
it changes.
right, right,
And that's the beauty that this music allows you.
right.
I would say you probably can't do that with most
Uh,
music which has a band kind of scenario.
right,
But this music with the kind of musicians who are very, very key to how you make that combination,
right,
what is very different from other genres is that there is a huge degree of improvisation that happens on the spot.
yeah,
So you might be playing that same piece
right, right,
5, 10, 15, 25 times over
right,
at different concerts.
right.
In our improvisation and the kind of set we have,
Right.
it will always be slightly different from the previous one.
From the previous one.
So that slight difference can be really magnified in many situations uh, when have an interaction with an audience, and you know how the vibe is going and things like that.
Right.
So it's not like you come with a track, with a backing track, you have a set of lyrics, and then whether the audience likes it or they are euphoric, you still are going to complete those set of lyrics and complete that track, you know?
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your signature style is known for its agility and dynamism. So, can you elaborate on how you developed this style of sitar playing? And in the early stages of your career, did you ever feel confined, by the limitations of traditional sitar playing?
Well, my gosh, you asked me like, I mean, we'll have to write a book on this, but you're going to probably write half a paragraph on this. So let me see how it. See,
Right.
there have been so many great, great masters of this instrument, and if it was not for them and their virtuosity that they brought
Right.
to this art form,
Right.
uh, my generation and me probably wouldn't have been in music.
Yeah.
So you have to understand that all the, sometimes we give too much importance to, what our journey is. But you have to realize your journey is so much uh, depending on what has happened in the past and how
Mhm.
you have been uh, put in that path by somebody. And
But
in my case, it was my father,
yeah.
because he come from the traditional music
Same.
family. So somehow that legacy, that path, you kind of spend most of your life
Right.
wanting to be part of that,
Right.
wanting to emulate those great things
Right.
or those, those great styles of sitar playing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, you realize that, oh, that is probably not possible. And by the time you realize it's not possible, you might have created your
Own
own
style.
idiom or your own kind of perception of what things could be.
Right. Right.
And that's how to put it very lightly and
Right. Right.
just keep it easy.
Right.
So you emulate a great master, and then eventually it dawns upon you that, oh, you can't be that.
Yeah.
So you might as well be something else.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, that also brings me to the question of, your path-breaking invention, the Zitar, and, the phenomenal journey it has taken not only in India, but, around the world. So, and you once mentioned in an interview that your love for rock music led to its creation. So, can
Yeah.
you recall the eureka moment when you felt, yes, I need to create this instrument?
No, very simple. I mean, this was like, when I was studying in Mumbai,
Right.
and we were, we used to go for these college festivals. If you know,
Yeah,
the
IIT
college
Mumbai, yeah.
IITs and the Malhars and the
Malhar.
kaleidoscopes of the world and stuff and things like that.
Right,
And then, when you are of that very, very, I would say, uh, delicate
right,
age of 15 and 16.
right.
And the good word to use is the formulative stage of, when things form up or
Yeah,
firm up in your mind,
yeah,
and you are kind of being exposed to things just out of school.
right.
So you would go to these festivals, and then you would see some very, very average uh, guitar player going up on stage and playing ta-da-na-na, ta-da-na, ta-da-da-ta-da-na-na, chika-ta-ta-ta. And you'll see this like thousands of guys, and especially the girls would make the difference for you then. And you say, why are they like guided? They're just going nuts over this line. And then it keeps you thinking, well, we play close to 1,000 lines like this in a
Right.
1 hour concert, and you might have 10 heads going saying, okay, वाह क्या बात है, बेटा जीते रहो, आप मेहनत करते रहो,
Right,
very. So there was a cultural difference there.
right.
So you felt that what is it in this music that uh, is kind of putting this uh, element of joy to these
Joy.
people.
Right, right, right,
So I very quickly realized probably there are two things. Probably there could
yeah,
be many, but one of these two things for sure are there.
right,
One is the sound of that music,
right,
the sound in which that music is coming out,
right,
especially the guitar and the way the tonality of that da, 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 and the second very important thing which I guess is associated with the sound is the lifestyle associated with that sound.
right, right, right,
That's very, very enduring for most people, that rock lifestyle of uh, leather boots and jeans and and what else and what not.
right,
Probably nothing. So that lifestyle and that sound associated with it, I felt like if I had this sound, I
right,
don't know about the lifestyle, there is a chance that, I could put out the sentiments or the melodies or the lines
right, right,
that we are already learning and playing and, have in our system,
right, right,
especially in the Indian music system. And probably it could reach out to them and it could reach out to them in a way that they haven't heard before.
exactly.
This was a seed when I was 15 years old,
Yeah,
right? This is the seed. But for it to take shape and for it to come out, it only eventually happened in my late, when
late.
I was 25, 26, 27,
It
So
was a long journey.
well, it was a journey without knowing that it's a journey. So, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, what was the reaction of the Indian classical musical, circles when you introduced it?
Oh man, they were like I mean, forget Indian classical music circles. You don't need to go that. My father was already, luckily, I had moved out uh, of my home and I had my own. I was living separately, and
Right,
if that did not happen, if I was in the same house and vicinity, it might have been really, really difficult to go through that,
right,
those practical things that I was doing with the instrument as
right,
such.
right,
And the reaction to Indian traditional classical people, actually, it was not different. You know why? Because it's always the same.
yeah, right,
Anytime, every time in every era, if
right,
there is something that comes which is slightly changing uh, there's a shift in the shape or the color
right, right,
of what they consider as traditional,
right, right,
there will always be opposition and they will be up in arms for that. So it is nothing new.
right,
But the moment you know that something like this is happening, means you have made that dent, you have made that shift, or you've made that, you know, move where things have, had that kind of reaction.
right,
But more than the critical reactions, the enthusiasm that was there in the listeners was so far greater that you knew that you had to keep doing it and finding
right.
more of that.
Right. So I mean, Zitar has been an inseparable part of some of the most Bollywood's most iconic songs. I mean, I cannot imagine In Dino or Alvida or Desi Boys without Zitar. So I
Gangster.
mean, how did the Zitar catch the attention of Pritam ji, and what was it like bringing your individuality to this track?
So yeah, so I mean, you're right when you say Preetham, because most of the time, because I mean, they were not aware of this instrument, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, I was already playing films since I was 18, 19
Yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
And eventually, when this instrument came by,
Right.
I would take it to studios, not knowing where I would use it.
Right.
So
Right.
one of the first times I used it in a very, very moderate, but in a very mellow form, was in my own album, which
I'll
I was doing.
Zitar.
But when I would go for certain recordings and I would hear a certain uh, kind of song,
Right.
and I would think that this could fit in,
Right.
I would try it out.
Right.
So it would not just be new for the music director, it would be new for everybody involved
Right.
in that studio, from the sound engineer to the sound arranger to the musicians there to
Right.
the producers and so on and so forth.
Right.
And uh, eventually, uh, one of the first songs that I ever recorded with the Zitar was from the movie Gangster, Bhigi
Yeah.
Bhigi.
Bhigi, bhigi. Yeah.
But then you when you play a part in that song, you have to play it in a way that that mark stays.
Right. Right.
So when guitar players try to play that, they
Right.
realize, man, this is not played on the guitar. What
Right.
is this?
Right.
So it spread from that need to know what is this
Right. Right.
amongst musicians. What was this?
Right.
What is this instrument? So I had not even called it the Zitar. I was just playing it without calling it anything.
Anything. Okay.
So then eventually things, fell in place.
Right, right, right. So, I mean, speaking of Bollywood, like you compose five magical songs for Laila Majnu. I mean, which it forms the soul of the film. So, but I specifically wanted to talk about Ahista and Tum. I mean, these two songs, they sound very similar to one another, but they're two. They have two different parts, and they have their own distinct identity. So, how did you create these two gems, and what was it like, working with Atif Aslam
No, Yatamanyu, I have to tell you, not very many people have got this. When you're asking that they not just sound similar, they are actually coming from that same song. They both
exactly,
have the same songs, but they have a different
different route.
interpretation of the harmonies.
Exactly, exactly.
And the reason being, I first composed Tum when
Right,
I started working on the film Laila Majnu.
right,
Eventually, that song did not fit in a space where there was a requirement for a melancholy romantic song.
right,
And Tum did not fall in that place in the narrative of the film. So they said, why don't you make another song? So because I was already so much, in with Tum, that song, that composition, I said, let me turn that around. And then from there came in Ahista.
right, right,
And then Ahista happened. And eventually, thanks to the director Sajid and of course this whole team, his whole team, that Tum also came back in the film, and it
right,
found they felt that this works best here, and so
right,
both the songs happened eventually.
right,
Sometimes you're destined, you don't plan these things, that you will have made Tum and then you say, no, Tum is not working, make another song, you make Aista, and then you have both happening.
right, right.
So, but thanks for listening it so minutely. And
It's beautiful. Both the songs are very beautiful. I mean, like you have collaborated with Sadaj in for Dr. Roda as well, and Meherma is a
yeah,
beautiful track. So, I
yeah.
mean, how did that came to fruition?
Well, I just have to tell you, Imtiaz sir, Imtiaz ji has worked with two people that I know
Right,
who have made those who have been the radical shifts in music. One
right,
is Ya Rahman that he has worked with,
right.
and the other is Preetham.
Preetham. Right, exactly. That
So
is my
he,
question as
so
well.
and the third person who did music for his things was I got this opportunity to do. So I gave him a song, few songs, and of course he has this, amazing knack for, music.
Yeah,
And when Mehram and Khalipan happened, uh, at the opening of that song, or the so-called when they launch the soundtrack and things like that, so there was a party and things like that.
hmm,
The one thing that Imtiaz ji told me is saying, sir, thank you for giving me this gem.
right.
So that meant a lot. And I thought Mehram is an amazing song.
Amazing song.
Unfortunately, it did not get
The
uh,
listeners
what it deserves still.
deserves.
Because
Yeah,
most people who have heard the song, the first reaction is, how did I miss this song?
exactly. Exactly, exactly. So, I mean, the idea of fusion in music is, both celebrated and criticized. So, where do you draw the line between meaningful innovation and, just blending sounds for the heck of it?
No, it is. It's a very good question, and I
Right,
would definitely want to answer it.
right,
When you want to convey a certain form of sound with a certain meaning that you want to convey because you feel strongly with it,
Right.
is only when fusion in the correct sense happens.
Right.
But most of the times that you see eventually people doing fusion and stuff like that, they're joining the bandwagon because it seems it works.
Yeah.
And that's the worst path to take when you're doing that music, because
Right.
eventually nothing will come out of it.
Right.
And if you go to think of it, this word fusion didn't exist
Right.
in 1960s,
Right.
right?
Right.
Especially in India.
Right.
But the first fusions that happened
Right.
was in film songs,
Right.
India,
Right.
of bringing in different diverse styles of music instruments
Right.
together to denote one song,
Right.
one line of melody.
Right.
So that thought process of bringing and diverse styles and sounds together to bring out one piece of music to give that emotion was there in film music from 1960s
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And then eventually, we come up with and we think we have done something exemplary new and stuff like that. No,
Right.
you are
Right.
just revisiting that's already been done.
Right.
And sometimes you live in that make-believe world, and ignorance is bliss.
Right.
But it's already happened, and
Right.
it's happened in such a great way,
Right.
such an impactful way.
Right. Right. So, I mean, modern sitar proponents are using sitar as a medium to convey a wide range of emotions. I mean, whether it's, Rishabh Rikhi Ram Sharma sitar for mental health, or, Anushka Shankar's minimalist or more atmospheric exploration of this instrument. So, I mean, how do you view their contribution to this instrument's legacy?
Now, everyone's contribution is a contribution. That's
Right.
what I really strongly feel, whether small, big, mentally stable or unstable, doesn't matter. But some contribution is a contribution.
Right.
What remains to be seen is that contribution is actually a contribution in the musical sense, or is a contribution just because you want to get into the
Yeah.
realms of being a musician and known. So
Right.
that is very important.
Right. Right.
All the great masters who have, have done music and who have done music with a difference,
Right.
uh, they have followed that
Right.
to the last breath.
Right.
And
Right.
that's when things, that that was real passion, and that was in the true sense contribution. You don't want to do it, your contributions should not change seasonally.
Seasonally. Right. 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 So, I mean, finally, it has been a while since you released an album of your own. So, do you have plan to create a new album anytime soon?
Well, thanks for asking this. I mean, making an album is always the most amazing journey. But you know how the business of music is now, making an album seems to be too much of a task, and you rather do a single, which is what everybody would say.
Is doing it.
Why don't you just, is that me?
Right.
So you would rather do a single.
Right.
So yeah, I really want to, get down to doing an album. I have a couple of collaborations which
Oh,
are
wow.
in the pipeline.
Right.
And to be honest, it's been almost a year since I've been sitting on those tracks, waiting for the collaboration to happen. And uh, f- it's from my part that I haven't delivered those
Right.
tracks. So once I get that done and move that, I think
Right.
some album should be out.
Right. Right. So that's it from my end. Thank you so much, sir, for your
Thank you so much
such
for
a
asking.